Hey guys, the Common Man here. So I've got in front of me another budget knife option. This one is from Miguron Knives, which I actually haven't checked out yet. This is my first knife from them. They offer several different budget versions as well as some premium versions, which I'd like to get my hands on at some point. So this is something just a little bit different, and I'm excited to check it out. So for starters, let's go ahead and take a look at that blade. This is going to be in 14C28N. Really great blade steel, and just so you guys know, this is going to be between $40 and $50. Last I checked, I just looked at the all black version. That was $49, right around $49. So this one I'm going to say you could probably pick up in the mid 40s to high 40s. So 14C28N, pretty awesome blade steel for that price. The blade stock thickness is going to be, relatively thick. Actually, it's going to be a nice robust blade stock. I wouldn't say it's thick, but it's some of these budget knives you're seeing pretty thin blade steels, and this one is probably on the slightly thicker side, which I actually kind of enjoy. This knife, the overall feel that I get from it is that it's supposed to be probably kind of a more robust knife. It does fill out the hand quite nicely, and we'll talk about the handle and the scales in just a little bit, but yeah, we'll go right back to the blade here. You can see a very nice flat grind that does actually go up basically the full height of the blade, but you can see it's ground at somewhat of an angle, so it does get thinner as you get out towards the tip here, and the tip is not particularly low in reference to the center line of the handle, but low enough where I think it's going to be a great option for EDC tasks. It's not going to have, it's some flat here, but you can see it's kind of this continuous sweep with somewhat of a belly. It's going to be a really nice slicer for sure. Relatively thin behind the edge, not the thinnest I've ever felt, but thin enough to get the job done for pretty much 90% of what you're going to want to use it for, I would say. Really nice cutout here for the deployment. You can do the Spidey flick, you can do thumb flick, and either way it's going to work really well. This awesome choil here is great as a finger choil. You can really choke up on there, and it's extremely comfortable. It gives you a really good firm grip on it. I do wish there was some jimping up at the top here. You're not seeing any there, but that would certainly add some traction because this can be pretty slippery. It is a pretty smooth surface. Really nice also for a sharpening choil. You can see you're going to be able to sharpen that several times before you start getting up into the meat of that material. And one thing I want to point out is take a look at that blade finish, that beautiful kind of what do you want to call it, kind of like a tumbled, I would say it's a tumbled finish, but it also has a belt satin up here on the flat, which looks really, really nice. And these edges are actually all knocked down extremely well. Nothing really sharp here, nothing that's gonna I guess be uncomfortable on your fingers or anything like that. Even the opening hole is very well softened. I think they did an incredible job on that blade. Just the blade itself is done extremely, extremely well, and I think it looks very sharp. And back to the handles, you can see these are going to be G10 scales over steel liners, and pretty robust, pretty thick liners on this guy, fairly thick G10 scales. I actually want to show the thickness up against a couple of knives here, ones that I think are going to be right around in the same territory if you're looking at this guy. First off, we'll start with the Civivi Elementum 2 button lock, and let's just go ahead right into a size comparison while we're at it. You can see that it is a little bit bigger than the Civivi Elementum, so if this is a little bit on the small side, I think you're really going to like, sorry, get that guy centered, I think you're going to like the Moyarl quite a bit. And then the CJRB Pyrite, also a little bit smaller than the Moyarl. So this is definitely going to be a nice medium-sized pocket knife, maybe even a little bit on the larger size if you're used to carrying something like this or this. But let's take a look at the thickness overall. Blade stock thickness is going to be a little bit thicker on the Moyarl, like I said, maybe a little bit on the thicker side, just slightly thicker than the Civivi Elementum, not by a lot though. And then the actual handle thickness is going to be, this is really where I think the robustness comes in, is in that handle thickness. You can see Civivi Elementum 2 button lock is a somewhat of a thicker knife. It is considerably thicker than the original Elementum, and the Moyarl is just a little bit thicker than the Elementum button lock. Let's go ahead and show it up against the original Elementum. Do pivot to pivot. So you can see a fair amount thicker than the original Elementum. Not a ton, but certainly noticeable. And then the CJRB Pyrite thicker than that as well. And this guy is just a banger. This thing is unreal. I can't recommend this enough. I absolutely love this thing. So fidgety, tuned beautifully. Really, really great knife. But back to this guy. So, like I said, G10 scales, not quite as much grip. Yeah, it's a little bit smoother maybe than the CJRB Pyrite. Smoother than, like, if you're familiar with Spyderco's peel ply texture, this is going to be a little bit smoother than that. Not quite as grippy, but still enough to provide some traction. And it's done very well. Fit and finish is nice. All these edges meet up very nicely. It doesn't have shadow box liners, which I like. What I'm saying is I like the fact that this is not shadow boxed. I'm not a huge fan of shadow box liners, so I like that they made all of this very flush, and I think they did a good job at it. You can see this has a G10 backspacer as well. It's going to be T8 hardware all around, except for the pocket clip, which is going to be T6. And by the way, this is not the original pocket clip. This is actually, so I did buy this from someone who had it previously, and they didn't carry it or use it much as far as I understand. And they did replace this pocket clip. And I believe this is going to be an aftermarket clip. I don't believe it came with this. So what it did come with, installed from the factory, as I'm grabbing it, is a titanium pocket clip, which is really cool. They actually threw in a titanium pocket clip on a, you know, sub $50 knife. That's pretty sweet. It's not a deep carry. I always prefer deep carry clips, but them throwing in a titanium pocket clip on this guy is that's a pretty nice touch. And it's also it's reversible. So this is going to be left or right hand carry, whichever you prefer. So that's nice as well. Like I said, sub $50 knife. At least last I checked, it's a sub $50 knife. And you know, that's a pretty sweet deal. Pretty nice touch. Overall, I mean, just the overall quality is incredible. Fit and finish is very nice. The access to the lock bar is perfect. You can see that they even chamfered the lock bar a little bit just to be a little bit more comfortable on your thumb. And they did cut back this side scale to give you really nice access to it. And that action is, you can see, just drop shutty. Yeah, really, really good action, tuned extremely well, and whichever deployment method you prefer, it just rockets open, no problem. The detent is perfect, tuned very, very nicely. Overall, guys, I mean, like I said, last I checked, this is a sub $50 knife, so for that price, what you're getting is pretty awesome. This is certainly in line with what we're seeing from other manufacturers in that budget category. I mean, really, we're not seeing too many knives that, you know, don't have incredible action, have poor fit and finish, you know, blade play. This is right in line with all of these incredible budget knives that we're seeing coming out. And this thing might even stand up just a little bit above them in the overall fit and finish and some of the features that you're getting, and really great blade steel for the price. I mean, this guy, it's hard to beat. This is a really great option, and you know, I certainly recommend this knife. So if you're looking at this guy, you're on the fence, I would say go ahead and give it a shot. I don't think it's going to let you down. It is nice, it's robust, good quality. I think this is a really nice EDC option for the money. So anyway, thanks guys, I appreciate you watching. If you want to see more of my videos, I've got more coming soon. Please consider subscribing, I'd really appreciate it.